So just for clarity, you're only going to make $110,000 in September, not 100 again.
God willing. God willing.
You were in broker certification. You went through master rehabber or master broker. And there were a lot of other people in your class there, many of whom are still working towards broker reimbursement. But you did it rather quickly because you got involved. You attended broker certification November 13th, 14th, and 15th of last year. You attended master broker March 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th of this year. And here it is now September, and you're getting your money reimbursed. So what would you say is the secret? I mean, talk to the rest of the brokers. How do they achieve and accomplish what you did?
I'm glad you asked that question because that's specifically what I was thinking about last night when I was preparing for getting on here. And I think, first of all, you got to rely on your team. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without everybody that you just had standing up there at the front. I would have just fallen on my face, quite honestly. But I think in the day-to-day, finding common ground with your clients is a big thing, and establishing rapport with them from the get-go. Focusing on what is important to them and determining that by asking them questions about themselves, what's important to them. And then regularly expressing gratitude to them for doing business with you or just for being part of your life and speaking into your life. And then the one big thing for me, I think, and I mentioned this at the Master Broker when I had to do my presentation, is I've always been told the fortune is in the follow-up. And I think that's something that I try to focus on. I don't just call people once or call them twice. I call them 15 times until they tell me to stop calling them. Shut up and go jump in a hole somewhere. So yeah, I feel like the follow-up is vital and imperative to do. And if you'll allow me, I was going to give you a quick example. So back in March, I did a cold call to a gentleman out in Fort Worth, Texas. And we quickly established some rapport because we're both big Texas A&M fans. And we're also both big believers. And so from the get-go, we established some affinity for one another. But then we lost touch for a week or two. And then I called him back up and I said, Chris, man, we got to do some stuff together. What's going on? He goes, I tell you what, I got this deal that I can't find funding for. Do you think you can find funding for it? Says, I don't know. I'm going to take a crack at it though. And so it was a $13 million first phase of a 54 home site development in Weatherford, Texas, which is just outside of Fort Worth. And within about 2 weeks, I was able to find funding for the deal for him. So he was extremely impressed by that. I actually went out to Weatherford to meet with the lender and with the client. And on my way back home, literally in the airport, I got a message that the deal was falling through for a couple of different reasons. And I was honestly quite devastated by it. But at first I just decided I was going to just give up and not do anything. But then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to persist. I'm going to keep moving forward. And so I continued to look for some other funding, and to shorten the story considerably, we are scheduled to close this Thursday on that deal, which will pay me $48,750, God willing.
Wow.
Thank you. And in addition to that, Chris now he sent me a contract this morning, literally about an hour ago, to try to hire me to come out to Weatherford, Texas, or Fort Worth, Texas, and work with him, because he's been impressed with that. And he's actually put another deal on my plate that I found funding for, which is a $15.5 million hotel in Kissimmee, Florida, near Disney World that we should close on probably the beginning of next month. So again, all of this is God willing. None of this has anything to do with me. I've realized very quickly that I have no control over any of this. A lot of my deals, honestly, have fallen through for one reason or another. But again, persistence is key. So if you'll allow me just another minute or two, I wanted to relate one of my favorite quotes. And then I'm going to add a caveat to it at the end. So this is actually from the President Calvin Coolidge. And he said, nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Now, the caveat to that is, as believers, we know that only God is actually omnipotent, not persistence or determination. But they're important, right? And you know that God is the only one that solves the problems of the human race, but determination and persistence are important as well. I had to go outside of Chris's main brokers so I'm having to split it 4 ways, but that's going to be another $38,750. So honestly, now I have commissions totaling $130,068 in the pipeline, and all but about 20,000 of those are scheduled to close in September. So September could be a really good month.
So you anticipating your September is going to be $130,000 in revenue from brokering?
Minus about 20,000 that should close in October, and I actually have one deal in that'll close in December. So
okay, so just for clarity, you're only going to make $110,000 in September, not 100 again.
God willing.
Good.